Am I the a-hole stories? Am I the a-hole for refusing to financially support my sister after she insulted me and my kids? My sister and I have a 10-year age difference. We've been pretty close despite our differences. My sister decided to do a medicine degree, and since it takes up a lot of her time, she can't earn enough working, and her boyfriend doesn't earn enough to fully support them both. So, I offered to financially support her since I could afford it and I wanted to help her for her future. I found out I was pregnant around December, and told people about it late January. And I'm very excited to have the baby and add to my family. I already have 2 kids. However, a mutual friend of us both sent me a screenshot of something she had posted about how selfish and stupid her sister, me, was, to be having another baby in a global health crisis. And why I'd want another spoiled brat crotch goblin in the first place. In a fit of rage, I texted her that I would no longer be financially supporting her, and I just stupidly and selfishly spend the money on me and my crotch goblins. Let me tell you, I've never gotten a phone call faster. She was crying saying she can't support herself and she'd have to quit her degree and get a job. I hung up, but a few hours later, she called me crying again, saying her boyfriend refused to support her solely, and he'd leave if she didn't quit the degree and find work. I supported her out of kindness, and she disrespected me. I don't have to give her money, it's mine. My husband also agrees with this. However, many mutual friends are saying ruining her life and entire future over a stupid post is a huge a-hole move, and I've received many angry calls and texts. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. I'm floored that you're being so nice to her and supporting her through school, and this is how she repays you? Going behind your back and verbally assaulting you, your children, all while vilifying you in the process? Don't give her another penny. That woman sounds incredibly self-entitled and clearly not appreciative of your sacrifices to help her. Cry me a damned river. Please. The sister is treating this as if it's a small thing. But she insulted not just OP, but her entire family. She used derogatory terms intended to ridicule. It's also ridiculous to call OP selfish when she is supporting the sister. But it gets worse. The sister is blaming the OP over this. The sister ruined her own life by relying exclusively on others for her finances. She's supposed to be an adult. Publicly slandering the source of financial support. Reporting this to mutual friends, making OP the bad person. Is there truly no plan B for finances? Is there truly no way for sister to recover from a loss of funding? I doubt this very much. Sometimes a single event is of large enough magnitude to cut someone off. This is one of them. Edit. Just noticed that the boyfriend said that he'd leave if she didn't find work. Gotta ask, was he maybe living off the support too? I can see the boyfriend refusing to support the sister, but threatening to leave? This is a perfect example of don't bite the hand that feeds you. I really cannot see how why she was saying those things, unless she felt that there would be less money for her? Hope she learns her lesson. Not the a-hole. Don't bite the hand that feeds you. It's none of her business how many kids you have and when you have them. It sounds like this wasn't a planned pregnancy anyways, just a happy surprise. If she can't afford to support herself while getting a degree, she should have thought twice about talking trash about the person helping her out financially. Plus, she also appears to really hate OP's kids. That wasn't just a burn at sister but some real hatred for her nibblings too. Spoiled brat crotch goblins isn't a bit of sisterly teasing, is it? Not the a-hole. It's your money. That said, I would perhaps ask her why she felt the need to make those comments. She's likely very stressed out and lashed out at anything that she could. In this case, it was you. It doesn't make it right, and it's not okay. But I would imagine that it was something said in the heat of the moment to vent off steam. My advice, talk with your sister. She's likely very sorry. My second piece of advice, get a contract, make the help a loan instead of a gift, and have a repayment schedule at low or no interest. Good luck. Family is tough. No. Sister didn't just make comments, she posted about her sister, presumably on social media, calling her nibbling seriously offensive things and deriding OP, who financially supports her. If sister really thinks that OP having another dependent during a pandemic is such a bad move, it makes sense for OP to stop supporting the grown adult and focus on her baby. Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my husband's sister I can't help her with her kids since I'm failing my kids? I have 3 sons with my husband, 12, 10 and 9. My mom died when I was 8 and I had to step up and raise my sister, who was 2 days old when our mom died. because our dad was a neglectful deadbeat who only cared about one thing. So, to say I have experience, is an understatement. My husband's sister knows my past but did not feel like I was doing a good job with the boys. She said I was too used to parenting a girl and I had no idea how to parent a boy. She said this because my goal was to teach my boys to be kind, to be open and honest with their feelings and to be good, respectful people. Some people might see it as I was trying to make them more feminine, but you know what, if my boys can be healthy and non-aggressive, then I will consider myself having done a good job. My husband's sister did not agree. She told me I was raising them to be soft, to be bullied, and I was setting them up for failure. At first I ignored her, then my husband talked to her and I basically stopped caring about a relationship with her after she told me I was failing my kids because my oldest son wasn't afraid to have his friends hear him say I love you to me and his dad. She was so certain he would get crap for it. Why she only blames me is probably obvious, but I know she thinks her brother only goes along with what I do. Anyway, she has been struggling lately because her kids are not very well behaved. The rest of the family have been on her case about it and she turned to me, no apology or acknowledgement of what she said, and told me she needed me to help with her kids. I told her that I couldn't possibly help her with the kids when I'm failing mine so badly, I would hate to fail hers as well. She pretty much lost it and told me I was being petty. We're family and how could I not put the kids above any issues I have with her? I told her she had called me a bad parent, and I was not going to help her out when she has never apologized or acknowledged that she was wrong. To which she told me again I was petty, and should be willing to help her. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. She's the one putting her pride before her kids. If she really wanted help, she'd apologize. She wants to have her cake and eat it too, get the help from you without acknowledging her own past mistakes, and that's not how the world works. P.S. You sound like an excellent parent. Thank you. Not the a-hole. Hijacking top post to ask what the main points you would recommend are to do the same? Main things to do and main things to not do. I have an 8-month-old boy and I really want to make sure he is kind. Not the a-hole sounds like she was feeling insecure about her own parenting and shortcomings and looking for ways to undermine yours and your choices. This was before she was a parent she said those things. Pretty much from the time I had my son, she was judgy. I know parenting can change people but becoming a mom didn't for her, and even now I don't think she regrets it more than she wants everyone off her back. Not the a-hole. Sister-in-law, you're raising softies who are gonna be bullied. Also sister-in-law, why are you standing up for yourself against what I said? That's petty. Me reading this, huh? Being kind and loving does not equal doormat. Next story. Am I the a-hole for throwing my sister out of my house at her own birthday party? I, 24 female, have 2 older sisters, X, 29 female, and Y, 31 female. I've been seeing Charlie, 32 male, for a year and a half now. Yes, there's an age difference, and no, it has not been an issue. We don't live together, and initially, he resisted a relationship with me due to the age difference and I was wary myself, but we had a lot of conversations and gave it a shot. He's honestly the best person I've ever dated. Intimacy is great, communication is great. He respects me entirely, never raises his voice, takes me on dates whenever we can, cooks, helps around the house. Total dreamboat basically. He's never made me feel inferior for being younger, never tried to parent or control me, encourages my social life and is as supportive as can be. Anyway, when we first got together, I was 23 and he was 30, turned 31 a month or so after we made things official. I mentioned offhandedly to X that I was seeing someone, and she asked the standard questions. I was honest about his age and she said gross, lectured me about creeps, and I dropped the topic. My sisters and I are all best friends, and to keep the peace, I mentioned him at a minimum, occasionally mentioning a date we went on or a gift he bought me. Cut to last month, we're celebrating my sister's 29th birthday. COVID is a non-issue where we live at this point. I invite my boyfriend and this is the first time he's meeting my sisters. So it's me, my boyfriend, my sisters, and their husbands. Things are going well. Charlie is charming the pants off my brother-in-laws, we have some drinks, and then it starts. X starts off with casual questions that progressively get more pointed. Do you usually date girls in their 20s? Plot twist, no he doesn't. Was he attracted to me because I was younger? So on and so forth. I finally just crack after trying to play off her questions with jokes to ease the tension and point out that yes, we have an 8-year age gap, but her and her husband have a 7-year age gap. X was 23, Her husband was 30 when they met, and she's a hypocrite for being a jerk to someone who's been nothing but doting and loving towards me. We argue. She says she's trying to protect me, by trying to humiliate my boyfriend? And it culminates in me telling her to get out. Her husband was the designated driver and took her home. Y says she doesn't have an issue with what I did, but kicking her out of her own birthday party, in my house, was maybe a bit much, and she left with her husband. Charlie is supporting me, but says maybe I should apologize just so I can keep the peace. He doesn't want to come between my sisters and I. X went off on me when I called her a week later, told me I was a jerk. She was doing her job as a sister. Y is just not even speaking about it because she doesn't want to take sides. I feel that I should apologize to keep the peace, but was I really the a-hole for kicking her out of a party for her when she was that disrespectful? Added to add info, I didn't speak to her privately, thanks studio apartments, but I did intervene trying to deflect her attitude with jokes and steer conversation elsewhere. She kept talking over me and ignoring me, and her husband subtly trying to tell her to calm down. She ended up asking him if he was into BDSM stuff or had a daddy king, and that's when things happened. My sisters have met my boyfriends before, and in my personal opinion, that is not an appropriate question to ask anyone ever, especially not in front of family, and the implication I got from that question was, she saw him as some kinky weirdo who was taking advantage of a young girl to live out his kinks. Which is not the scenario at all in our private life. Not the a-hole she was drinking and behaving poorly, that's plenty of reasons to send someone home. But, the fact that she's in a relationship with a nearly identical age gap and a nearly identical starting point to yours, makes me wonder if your sister is actually telling you some things about her relationship in her efforts to protect you. Definitely some projecting going on there. I wish OP had just asked all the same exact questions to sister's husband immediately after the sister asked hers. Sister, are you attracted to her because she's younger? OP, what about you, brother-in-law? Did you prey on my sister because she was younger? Not the a-hole. It stopped being a birthday party when she, hypocritically, as you noted, decided to turn it into an interrogation of your boyfriend. She doesn't have to like him, but she shouldn't go appointing herself your protector when you're a grown adult, however much trouble she might have seeing you that way, and by all appearances, he's done nothing to warrant that besides exist. Not the a-hole, and by the way she kept questioning him, your sister, maybe, had been reading too much 50 Shades books lately. Yeah, and I understand the stereotype of older men being predatory and roping younger women into BDSM relationships, but ironically in our intimate life, I'm the kinky one and he's pretty damn vanilla. Also, just why would anyone ask someone that question? Like maybe I'm a prude, but I tend not to ask my sisters or their husbands about their intimate life. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for kicking my sister-in-law out of our place? So, my sister-in-law lived with us for about 4 months until my wife and I kicked her out. I will say, she is not someone I've ever gotten along with in the 5 years my wife and I have been together. Like, this is the same woman who was mean enough to call CPS on someone for no reason, out of spite. Without going into other things she's done outside of this story, I'll just say in the 6 years I've known her, that example doesn't classify as bad compared to other things she does to people around her. Anyways, about 4 months ago, my wife's sister was over for dinner. Because, even though she's a mean person, back then my wife still wanted to see her every once in a week. You know the saying, some people you have to mostly love at a distance? While over for dinner, her sister informed me she would be crashing on our couch on nights she didn't feel like driving the 35 minutes home, as she got a job offer where my wife works. I didn't like the idea, but didn't protest much. Eventually, she started just staying every night / on her days off too. My wife and had a talk about it, and decided we needed to lay some ground rules. We decided she could stay with us for 4 full paychecks, but after that, she must find a place. Mind you, rent is cheap where we live. $950 or so would be more than enough for rent and deposit. Paycheck after paycheck would go by and her sister wasn't saving any money back. Despite staying with us for free and making between $1,100 to $1,300 every 2 weeks. We never asked for much from her, just that she put the toilet seat down when not using it, and that she uses the spare bedroom instead of sleeping and being in our living room almost 100% of the time she was home. She flat out refused to do both. Eventually, our landlord gave a 1-month warning that he would raise rent due to her staying there since he pays for water. We let her know. We advised that she makes plenty of money and could have a place figured out in that time frame. But she begged and insisted that she pay the difference in rent. About 25 days go by and we mention the rent increase to her. She refused to pay it, stating that she bought some $300 in groceries a week prior. Mind you, over $180 of it turned out to be personal items. And the rest random things like string cheese and yogurts. She said she wasn't willing to pay the increase. My wife and I agreed and informed her that she needed to get out. As she'd stayed with us for 4 months, eaten so much of our food that I didn't get to eat, meals that were made at times, used internet, had a warm place to stay in one of the nicest apartments in town. And we never charged her a dime. While she cleared $1,100 to $1,300 every 2 weeks and blew it for 4 months. She wasn't homeless as she could stay with family that lived 35 minutes away, until ready to rent. Am I the a-hole? Now for the comments. Not the a-hole, definitely good riddance. Family like that should only be seen for Thanksgiving or Christmas. Thank you for your feedback. I've tried telling some of the bad things she's done to us over the years, but those posts always get flagged because of how graphic some of the things she's done are. Yet I still feel bad, because I know she doesn't drive well. Users gotta use. She sure did. Change your locks if you have to, but this person definitely needs to be loved at a distance. Not the a-hole. Thank you for your comment. That is good advice. I will definitely get that done. The fact that you can even consider yourself the a-hole based on this story worries me. Not the a-hole. My wife's sister is really good at manipulating people. I think deep down I know I'm not, but she wrongs people and then will do things like bawl her eyes out while on a phone call, and make it seem like she's the one who's been used. I feel bad for kicking her out because I know she's not a good driver. And it is snowy here. And that's it for this video, guys. If you have thoughts to share, leave a comment below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you like this content. I'll catch you in the next one. Good day, everyone.